Hello and welcome again. This is the second video on the Bungonia of the Bungonia Ride, so part 2 of the Bungonia Ride. And I went back and looked at the last video, slowed it down and played it several times, and found that the road that I turned onto that I'm on now is called Lumley Road, and the sign clearly pointed to Terrigo, 22 kilometres away. So I had been travelling east, and I turned onto this Lumley Road, which then takes you in a southerly direction to Terrigo, which I've mentioned in some of my earlier videos, especially the one to what I rode out to Braidwood. So that's taking you, this Lumley Road is taking you south towards, or at least I thought it was towards Terrigo, at which point I would have then turned right and gone west back towards Goulburn. But as you'll see as this video progresses, that's not how things panned out. We'll get to that a little later in the video. In the last video I also talked about things that I like to talk about while I'm giving commentary about this riding. So I should say here, early in the piece, if you don't want to listen to what I've got to say, turn the volume down and just enjoy the scenery. My suggestion is watch it in full screen because you get it, or theatre mode, because you get a much better view of what's of the scenery than you do in the standard size screen that YouTube uses. Now, I have talked before about bike safety and road safety in general and all that sort of stuff, and I don't want to be the safety police, and I don't want to be the person who lectures people and tells them what to do, but I just wanted to make this observation. Today is the 22nd of December, and I'm, as you can see, making the audio for the second clip. I was on my way down the main street of Goulburn this morning, do some shopping and stuff like that, and I was in my car, and at a set of traffic lights I saw a bloke on a bike. The bike would be probably as big as the one I own, and you might have seen that in some of the earlier videos. It's the Kawasaki Voyager 1700. This was a Harley model of some sort, I think, but certainly a big bike. Not that the size of the bike's got anything to do with safety, but it's a big bike, so presumably it cost quite a lot of money. It's a warm day today, or it was a warm day today, about 24 degrees I think. But this bloke's riding this bike. He's got helmet on because helmet laws are mandatory in Australia, and no one wants to incur the fine that goes with that. So the guy's wearing a helmet, but he's wearing no gloves, he's wearing a shorts, t-shirt, a pair of shorts, and a pair of joggers and socks. And I'm of the view that if you can't afford the safety gear, you've probably got to put about $1,500 aside to get good safety gear, which includes a helmet, a good jacket, and good pants. When I say good, I don't mean necessarily expensive, but I mean ones that have either got the Kevlar in them or the dry ride or a leather, and so have good abrasive qualities, so that if you happen to hit the concrete or the tarmac, you're going to have that layer between you and your body. And he's wearing none of this gear. Now, okay, safety gear is a personal choice and all that sort of stuff, and it's not my job to tell other people what to do or how to ride or anything like that. But if that guy goes down wearing just shorts and a t-shirt and joggers, he's going to come off second best. I notice that some, but not all motorcyclists have tattoos, and the tattoos sometimes cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And if you hit the concrete, the tarmac of the road in bare skin, you're going to leave the tattoo on the side of the road. No question about that. So, you know, wearing the safety gear is a matter of personal responsibility and all that sort of stuff. But if you think about the costs that are involved in a road accident, accidents can't be avoided. That's why they're called accidents. But if you think about the sorts of things that are in cars these days with airbags and all the other safety features, the crumple zone that's around you, the people who design and manufacture the car are doing their best to try and make sure that you'll survive the accident. In a motorcycle, you don't have those protections. There's nothing between you but two rubber patches in the road, and if you go down, it's going to be unpleasant. So whilst wearing safety gear is a matter of personal choice, I can't understand why anyone would set out on the road without it. I assume, without any knowledge, but I assume that bloke who's got this bike, he's got a big bike, so it's not a case of get on the bike and just go down the road and get a loaf of bread or a carton of milk or something. Although you can have an accident and it can be just as catastrophic going down the street and getting a loaf of bread as it could be if you were driving across or riding across Australia. But you assume with a big bike like that, he's bought it to ride out on the highway. He's bought it to get out on the open road and enjoy all the good things that there are about motorcycling, but he's putting himself at enormous risk if he hits the tarmac. Anyway, I just wanted to make that observation. I saw this morning and I thought, I just can't let this go without commenting on it. Alright, so we're on this Lumley Road, and I'm allegedly heading south, thinking that, okay, if I keep going, I'm going to make it to Tarrago, and then when I get to Tarrago, I'll just make a right-hand turn at the four-way intersection and head back to Goulburn, and that'll be my ride. But I get down this road a little bit further, maybe 2 or 3 more minutes into the ride, and you'll see that's not the case. The road here, as you can see, it's in reasonably good condition. The camera's not bouncing about a lot, so it's not full of potholes and unevenness and a rugged surface. There are no markings on the road, as you can see, and there are sometimes those white guideposts on the side of the road, but I don't know how much traffic comes on this road, but perhaps not very much. And you can see now what it is that happened. Ran out of tarmac and I'm on the dirt road, and I had to think to myself, now is this dirt, is this just a section of dirt in this road and we're going to get tar again? And so I'll just keep going for a while. Or if I missed a turn off to Tarrago somewhere and I'm on the wrong road and I don't know where I'm going to end up. As I've said before, the bike I own is a road bike. It's a highway bike. It's a cruiser, and it's meant to be out on the highway on the open road. It's not meant for dirt roads, and I don't feel very comfortable riding it on dirt roads. And although this one was in reasonably good condition, I didn't know the road and I didn't know where I was going. So I kept going here for a little while longer, as you'll see, and increasingly I became, I wouldn't say anxious, but concerned about, well, where does this road go? What happens if I get to the end of it? It's a dead end and I've got to turn around and come back anyway. So I kept going for a little while, not seeing any signposts anywhere, not seeing any signs that indicated that, any of the things that would indicate that it's a well-used road, that it's got any of those yellow signs that point to curves in the road or steep inclines or intersections or that sort of stuff. I began to get a little bit concerned that I had come to, maybe on a private road or a road that went nowhere. But right at the moment as I'm talking, I've come to a dead stop. I've decided, well, okay, let me stop and think about what I'm doing for the moment, take stock of what I'm doing and decide what to do. And as you can see about now, I've made some sort of decision. The bike's on the move again, and I've decided to make a U-turn. Now, I've mentioned in previous videos that this bike I own is a 400 kilo bike when it's wet, and when it's fully loaded with fuel and all that sort of stuff. And so making a U-turn in a dirt road like this, where the shoulder falls away quite steeply to gullies and rubble drains and so on, isn't as easy as it looks. And I have commented before about the 1 or 2 things that I would like to see changed about this bike, or see improved about it, and one of those is to add a reverse gear. And you think, well, how does that help? Well, trying to duck walk this 400 kilos of bike around, so I rode it, made the turn. I rode it almost on the camber of the road till the road started to dip away. And then I thought, if I get stuck here and I try to duck walk this back and lose my grip or something, if I lose a grip on my feet, I'm going to be in trouble here. So a reverse gear obviously would be electrically operated somehow and speed limited, like it is on the Goldwing. So you put it in reverse, you open the throttle, it's never going to go faster than 5 kilometres an hour. So even if you grab the throttle and surge it, somehow there's a surge and you put it open, you're not going to suddenly surge backwards and have a tip over, but you're going to be able to get the bike back, as I wanted to do here, and then turn around and get going. As it turned out, I was able to duck walk it, crab walk it, whatever the expression is, and turn it around and get on my way. I still don't know whether, looking at maps and so on, whether I was on the right road, because I couldn't, you'll see as I go back the way I had already come, there are no signs indicating there's another turn off to Tarrago anywhere, so I assume that this was the right road, but how much longer before I hit the tar again I didn't know. and I honestly did not know at that time whether I was on the right road or not. And I suppose I didn't have the presence of mind to whip out my phone and look it up on the GPS or something like that, and I wasn't even sure if I had done that I would have got any signal. So I made a U-turn, as you can see, and I'm now going back up Lumley Road, back to in the general direction of Bungonia Village. It'll be a while before I get there. I'm not sure what the lesson of all that is. Pay attention to the road in case there are any turn-offs that you've missed. Study your road before you go, perhaps. Know that it might have a dirt section and be prepared for that. The problem with taking this bike on the dirt road is, as I say, it's a big heavy bike. It's got road tyres on it. It's a cruiser, so it's made for the open road. So it's not made to ride on dirt roads. It doesn't have the knobbly tyres and so on. And you're kind of stuck in a world of saying, well, do I go at a reasonable speed and get across all this dirt as quickly as I can, or do I ride at slow speed to avoid the risk of sliding away on a loose section of gravel or something? As everyone who rides a motorcycle knows, when you go slow on your bike, it's harder to control than when you're going faster. That doesn't mean go flat chat, but if you're riding at 80, 90, 100, 110 kilometres an hour, the bike's doing what it should be doing, and all the forces of physics and gravity and all that sort of stuff are behaving the way they should do. But if you're riding at 5 or 10 or 15 or maybe 20, 30 kilometres an hour, the bike's not doing what it's intended to do. And you're trying to control it at low speed and hope that it's not going to slip out under you. And you're not going to suddenly hit a loose patch of dirt and find a wheel sliding out under you. So it's a bit of a, I don't know, it's what the word is, it's a juggling thing, or you've just got to make a decision about do one thing or the other. But for those reasons, I'm reluctant to take this bike on the dirt roads. So as you can see, I turned around and went back in the direction that I'd come, and I made it back to the T intersection where I had turned onto this Lumley Road in the first place. I don't recall seeing any other signs that indicated Tarago, so I don't think I'd missed a turn-off of any sort. You can see here, this is sort of that open country again. There are trees intermittently along the road, but it's not heavily wooded or heavily bushed like it is looking down into the Shoalhaven Valley. It's quite a pleasant ride this day. You can see although there is some cloud in the sky, it wasn't particularly hot or cold, it's just comfortable. I had all my regular safety gear, talking about the bloke I'd seen earlier today on the bike. I had all my regular safety gear, which is the dry rider jacket, dry rider pants, and heavy boots. And I wasn't uncomfortable. I understand some days, in the middle of summer, it's going to be hot and it's going to be uncomfortable in some of that heavy-duty gear. But there is also lightweight gear that you can get, the Kevlar jeans and light jackets that have the Kevlar woven into them that you can get for summer riding. I noticed as I was going along this road, you see there's some dirt road turn-offs on either direction, but I assumed that they were roads that led to people's properties, and I could see a couple of what I guess were farmhouses from the side of the road. So some of this land is obviously agricultural land. I presume that out here there would be a mixture of sheep and beef cattle. You probably have noticed not very many cars going along this road, so I guess it's a reasonable assumption that it's not used very much by traffic. I guess it's a road that only goes from Bungonia through to Tarago, so unless you were going to one of those two places or you lived on this road somewhere, not a lot of call for you to be on it. I assume it's a road that has to be maintained by the council with funds that are paid for by the state government. Local council here, I guess, is the Goulburn Mulwaree Council. It might be, I think it probably is Goulburn Mulwaree Council. It seems to be a bit more heavily treed, if that's a word, this section of the road than an earlier section that I was that I've shown you. Mostly it seemed to be pretty straight, this road, but there were a few bends where you get to lean the bike into the twisty, so that's always a good part of a ride. This video is about to come to an end, so I'll say again thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll tune in for the third clip, which won't take me back to Goulburn, but it'll take me through Bungonia and back towards Goulburn. But I'll say thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you a bit more about that in the next video. So thank you for watching, and bye for now.